let's go Raven and Douglas, because I think that's better than most of the other stuff this month.
Yeah, it's the best angle the entire show.
For the second month in a row, it's the best angle in the entire show. This is a good angle.
Yeah, they're kind of killing it.
Mm.
And, like, this is some, like, you know, this is some pro wrestling us pro wrestling here. Have a real good feud that leads into a Raven title match. And then the Raven title match is super fucking over.
Yeah, so, first show of the month, NWA-TNA pay-per-view number 57. Shane Douglas is bragging about pinning Raven in the six-man tag Clockwork Orange match that ended last month. Raven shows up with a body bag. He wants to put Douglas in the body bag, but James Mitchell has trapped...
Put him in a body bag!
There you go. He has trapped Julio De Niro and Alexis Lurie in some kind of truck backstage with the New Church. They have a flaming stick.
It looks dangerous. I was very worried for, like... Both of these people have long hair. And I was worried that it was going to catch. Everyone in that room had long hair except for Slash.
Yeah, Slash is smart. He's like, I'm not going to have hair here. I'm not catching fire with this flaming kendo stick.
But it was close and it was scary.
Yeah, that backstage vignette was filmed in some kind of truck, probably due to the fire marshal restrictions that they can't actually have fire in the building.
Cowards.
So the whole thing here is that James Mitchell is like, do you care about these people enough, or do you want to just get revenge on Shane Douglas? So he has to choose in this moment, Liam. Is he going to go after the Gathering and save them, or is he going to continue attacking Shane Douglas?
Because he was saying that the old Raven would have just taken the opportunity to beat the shit out of Shane Douglas.
Whereas the new Raven, Liam, he chooses the Gathering.
Chooses his friends.
He goes to help his pals and leaves his vengeance on Shane Douglas for another day. So it's character growth.
It's almost like he's getting positioned to be the biggest babyface in the company.
Later in the show, Raven gets to the room where they were kidnapped. They're gone. They turn out to be in the ring. Mitchell and the New Church are there. Raven takes out Slash. He takes out Brian Lee, but dropped by Douglas and then put in the body bag.
They should have written off Alexis Lurie early here and just had like a pile of ash on her seat.
She's literally burned.
Yeah, she was just turned into ash. There's no viscous, there's no gore, it's just ash.
So, NWA-TNA pay-per-view number 58, we have the big Raven and Shane Douglas match, which I thought, good match.
Yeah.
Not, like, good from a wrestling perspective, because there's some moments that were really bad from a wrestling perspective.
But they're both over.
Yeah, because there was a period during Raven's comeback where he hit a series of clotheslines. He hit, like, 3, and then he was going for a 4th, and Shane Douglas was painfully slow to get up. Then they basically missed the clothesline, and then he fell over, and the crowd booed. And it's like, oh...
And there was also some points where it's like, there was some big setup moves, and they were like, you know, it was slow to get into it, but, you know, who cares? It's Raven and Shane Douglas.
Yeah, I thought it was a good angle. Shane Douglas is a very good heel. He knows how to work like a small building. He's like that kind of heel who knows how to, like, really amp his facial expressions up and his mannerisms. We'll talk about that more, I think, in the Gauntlet match, in which I thought he was tremendous. But... yeah, this match, they try to do the same thing again, where it's like they bring Alexis Lurie trapped inside a body bag, and James Mitchell's like, she's about to run out of oxygen. She has maybe 10 seconds worth of oxygen, to which I quite enjoyed the crowd.
10, 9, hey, Raven's like, I can't get it open.
The crowd started chanting and counting down to, like, Alexis Lurie's imminent demise.
And also like the idea exactly at 1 she'd die.
Yeah, so Raven again has to decide, but this time he's smart. He actually rolls up Shane Douglas, he snatches a win, and then goes to save Alexis Lurie.
Raven should have opened it up and then there was ash in the body bag.
And she's dead.
Yes.
As it turns out, it was not Alexis Lurie inside the body bag, but the mysterious man. So the white arm comes out, grabs him, chokes him, and just as Shane Douglas is about to start cutting Raven's hair, security intervenes.
Damn, security.
A note, Raven is open to the idea of having his head shaved as part of his upcoming hair versus hair match storyline. This is where, obviously, the scissors are introduced here to start building to that hair versus hair match. He pitched the idea to TNA officials several weeks ago, but the company did not agree to pay him the money he wanted to perform the angle. Raven took the idea to Ring of Honor, which quickly issued a press release to announce a Raven versus CM Punk hair versus hair match. By week's end, ROH called off that match and used the excuse that the match could not take place due to Raven's contractual obligations to TNA.
So, my favourite backstage thing about this was apparently Jarrett calling Raven and being like, if you get your hair shaved in Ring of Honor, you will not be on this show until your hair grows out to the same length again.
I quite enjoyed as like a sly political move from Raven. It's like, if you're not going to pay me, I'm going to go to Ring of Honor and do it, which then makes them go, no, we'll do it.
But apparently, gigantic pay cut to do it in Impact.
Yeah, that's what you get, Raven. You've signed the contract. This is your problem. Raven is regretting signing that TNA deal now.
Yeah, that merchandising deal.
So yeah, this is the build to a hair versus hair match. August 20th, NWA-TNA pay-per-view number 59 opens with the Gathering and the New Church brawling. Lights go out. The Mystery Man has hung Raven from the ropes.
Yeah, really, like, violent.
Yeah, like that noose was tied tight. That man was being legitimately choked.
Yeah.
So yeah, Raven was being hung and dangled there, but the Gathering made the save just as Shane Douglas was again trying to cut some of Raven's hair.
Punk's back.
Yeah, Punk is back with the Gathering. That's an important point to note. It's also, we didn't even mention it the week before, it's no longer Brian Lee.
Yes, we have a new member.
We have Sin is the new member of the Disciples of the New Church, and that is because Brian Lee no-showed at the previous week's event. So Brian Lee he's gone and he's never coming back.
Of course, we talked about what was going on there on the last show.
Brian Lee no-showed Wednesday's NWA-TNA pay-per-view. He was scheduled to team with Slash in a match against Julio De Niro and CM Punk. Sin ended up being put in that match instead. The general feeling backstage that he was replaced in the Disciples of the New Church tag team. Lee was replaced in the match by Sin, who debuted in the August 20th show in the opening 6-man tag match. Sin is the latest TNA wrestler who was recommended by backstage agent Scott D'Amore, who promotes Border City Wrestling. Sin and his girlfriend Tracy Brooks, Kazarian stole Tracy Brooks from Sin clearly, who works for TNA as a woman in a schoolgirl outfit, recently moved from Canada to Nashville in hopes of finding regular work from TNA.
I think she's more than just a woman in a schoolgirl outfit.
To be fair, in TNA programming, that is basically the description of who she is.
No, she had like a whole, women against the men story. She had multiple stories.
She had layers, PW Torch. You give her layers.
Yeah. Shut up, PW Torch. Jesus.
At this point, the speculation is that Sin will be the permanent replacement for Lee, who appears to be on his way out of TNA. Even though he has numerous friends in the office, they may bring him back if he cleans up his act, but he never came back.
Mm-hmm.
This is the end of Brian Lee's run in TNA. A very good run, and it's a shame it ends like this.
Yeah, like we said, I think we kind of did the whole talk about his run last time, but Disciples of the New Church are a great underrated tag team.
So the story of the show is that Raven has been taken out because of that hanging. He's been taken to hospital. He's not fit to perform in the main event gauntlet match. And the Disciples of the New Church face Punk and Julio later in the show, who Raven's not there, which allows Alexis to have her hair cut by Shane Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
In the most polite way he possibly could.
Yeah, what a nice guy. Only doing the dead ends. Basically just got her a free haircut.
Yeah, and especially because I'm not sure when she signed the OVW deal, but I'd imagine she knew doing this angle she was on the way out. She's like, you can take the smallest amount off of my hair, but not that much.
Yeah, I will not be changing my look drastically before I go to developmental.
So yeah, Shane Douglas very politely cut just enough of her hair so that it was impactful, but not so much to change her appearance in any way whatsoever.
100%.
Then the main event of that show is a gauntlet match where the whole idea is that Raven's not meant to be there because he was beaten up by the New Church at the start of the show. Jarrett's not going to be there for reasons we'll talk about in a moment. He was kidnapped. So it's a gauntlet to determine the number one contender. It has Kid Cash, Ron Killings, Christopher Daniels, BG James, Sonny Siaki. Jeff Jarrett's music plays, but he's not there. Again, abducted. D'Lo Brown, Mad Mikey, who came out but wasn't in the match, but was very mad he wasn't in the match.
But he tried.
And his name's Mad Mikey, and he's mad. Abyss, Sandman Legend, Conan, the franchise, and eventually Raven. But we'll get to that in a moment. Unlike the last Gauntlet match, I thought this one rocked. We were talking a lot about how the recent Gauntlet matches they did had no stories and no ideas and no reoccurring things running through them. Whereas this one did. It obviously had the hook that were Jarrett or Raven going to show up because Raven was injured, Jarrett was kidnapped. There was the reoccurring theme that Abyss was the dominant badass killing everybody, throwing everybody over the top rope.
Yeah, the Kid Cash story there too.
Yeah, because Abyss then eliminated Kid Cash, who is his tag team partner and master.
I was going to say master. Who is his dom?
He is his dom. Conan was the biggest star in the match, got an insane pop.
As always.
And then last person to come out, Raven, bloodied, battered, bruised, comes out, not letting this opportunity get away from him. He eliminates a bunch of people. It comes down to Raven and franchise. Shane Douglas does the best cowering heel routine. He's so good.
I was going to say, I think I like this mini match at the end of this gauntlet more than their actual match.
Yeah, because they get straight to it. Shane Douglas is making all the faces in the world that's oh no, Raven's here. No, we took him out. No, but he's here. And then he does the thing where he psychs himself up. He's like, no, I'm Shane Douglas. I'm going to go get him. And then he immediately gets his ass kicked by Raven. He gets quickly DDT'd. And Raven is your number one contender for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Woo!
I like this gauntlet match a lot. I thought they told him some good stories and the closing angle was real good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And then, last show of the month, we open with 3LK against the New Church, which ends when James Mitchell tries to interfere to attack Ron Killings before the Gathering even the odds.
Yeah.
And then our main event, Raven. Actually, no, there's a Raven promo in the middle of the show, which I thought was really good, where he's sitting down with Mike Tenay, and he's talking about how, there was the Tommy Rich and Buzz Sawyer feud that he watched. Both guys, they were on the path to greatness, but they got sidetracked with blood feuds. And he talks about his own ECW history, where he's like, I was on the path to greatness, I was world champion, but then I got sidetracked by Dreamer and our hate feud and blood feud, and then Sandman and our personal vendetta against each other, and I never got back to the world championship. And he's like, here in TNA, I promised that wouldn't happen. I promised this is the time where I'd get back to the world championship, but then Shane Douglas comes around and he's trying to drag me back into one of these blood feuds, and I'm not going to let it happen.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Raven with good material, Liam. Who would have known? Who would have thunk it? He's a good promo.
It's just like Raven with direction. One of the best. And
that brings us to our main event for the world championship. Raven versus AJ Styles. Tremendous match. I like this match a ton.
The match itself, was whatever. Like, it had some really cool spots. It was well structured. But to me, like, the thing that really put this over the edge was just the atmosphere. For a company that you don't consider to be like a big match company, this, especially at this point, their big NWA title matches feel like such gigantic matches. The atmosphere, like people living and dying by everything that happens on these shows. It's just, you really felt it. You felt it during Raven and Jarrett. You felt it during Killings and Jarrett. You felt it during Styles and Jarrett. I was going to say, wait a minute, there's a lot of Jarrett stuff. But yeah, you felt it here too. Like, this felt like a gigantic deal.
And this crowd wanted Raven to win so badly.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's an interference spot here where Slash comes out with a bunch of powder. Raven kicks the powder into his face. Slash doesn't know who he's hitting, so he hits the Whirlybird, the Eye of the Storm, on Styles instead of Raven. Raven pins Styles. Crowd are like 1, 2, Styles kicks out, and like every set of hands in the Asylum like flies in the air, like, oh, like in unison. You see the limbs go flying.
Some people thought like he did win. Some people were devastated that he didn't.
It's legitimate. It might be like a top 10 near fall in TNA history.
Yeah.
But yeah, the crowd's so into this. They wanted Raven to win. You had a bunch of interference. You had the New Church coming out, the Gathering cut them off, and eventually Shane Douglas comes out, hits a low blow, allowing Styles to hit the Styles Clash and retain the NWA World Championship. And as I said, this is probably my match of the month. I thought this match rocked, mostly because the crowd were just going absolutely apeshit for it.
Crowds, huh? Wrestling should have them.
It's fun when you can get people in your audience that care about the stories you're telling.
More people should try that. And
it is such a contrast to, like, Jarrett never felt like this as a babyface. Whereas Raven does. No. Raven feels like a legitimate top babyface.
People can relate to Raven a lot more.